अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम हाफिज़ मोहम्मद उस्मान है। आज मेरी प्रेजेंटेशन का टॉपिक है चैप्टर नंबर 10 HRM फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट फॉर एडिशन बाय RNOA JR Hollenberg B Gerhardt and PM Wright। चैप्टर 10 सेपरेटिंग एंड रिटेनिंग एम्प्लॉयज़। What do I need to know? Distinguish between involuntary and voluntary turnover and describe the effects of an organization. Discuss how employees determine whether the organization treats them fairly. Identify legal requirements for employee discipline. What do I need to know? Continue. Summarize ways in which organization can fairly discipline employees. Explain how dissatisfaction affects employee behavior. Describe how organization contribute to employees' job satisfaction. Retain key employees. Introduction. Every organization recognizes that it needs satisfy loyal customers. In addition, success requires satisfy loyal employees. Research provides evidence that retaining employees help retain customers and increase sales. Organizations with low turnover and satisfy employees tend to perform better. Managing turnover. What was the primary reason you have ever quit a job? I did not like my boss or coworker. I was not fit with the company culture. Better say pay somewhere else. More interesting or challenging work somewhere else. More interesting or challenging work somewhere else. I was fired or laid off. Other. Managing voluntary and involuntary turnover. Involuntary turnover initiated by employer, often with employees who would prefer to stay. Voluntary turnover initiated by employees, often when the organization would prefer to keep them. Costs associated with turnover table 10.1. Involuntary turnover: recruiting, selecting and training replacement, lost productivity, lawsuit, workplace violence. Voluntary turnover: recruiting, selecting and training replacement, lost productivity, loss of talented employees. Test your knowledge through A or false B. A manager who decides to fire an employee should quietly take action alone and then let others know afterward. Separating employees are financial and personal risk. Employee separation: organization must develop a standardized systematic approach to discipline and discharge. These decisions should not be left solely to discretion of individual manager or supervisor. Policy should be based on principle of justice, and the policy should allow for various ways to intervene. Principles of justice: outcome fairness, a judgment that the consequences given to employees are just. Procedural justice, a judgment that fair methods were used to determine the consequences an employee receives. Interactional justice, a judgment that the organization carried out its action in a way that took the employee's feelings into account. Principles of justice, figure 10.1. Outcome fairness, consistent outcome, knowledge of outcomes in proportion to behaviors. Procedural justice consists of procedure, avoidance of bias, accurate information, way to correct mistake, representation of our interests, ethical standards. Interactional justice, explanation of decision, respect for criminal consideration, empathy. Test your knowledge. A company whose earnings are very low has to reduce the amount given in the raises to avoid laying people off. The amount of the raise for each employee is determined objectively based on their performance. An employee working for this company will most likely feel and a high outcome fairness, high interaction in justice. Low outcome fairness, high procedure justice. Low interaction justice, high outcome fairness, low outcome fairness, low procedure justice. Legal requirement: wrongful discharge. The discharge may not violate an implied agreement. For example, employer had promised job security. For example, the action is inconsistent with company rules. The discharge may not violate public policy, terminating the employee for refusing to do something illegal or unsafe. For example, discrimination: employers must make discipline decisions without regard to the person's age, sex, race, or other protected status. Even-handed, carefully document discipline and avoid such claims. Legal requirements continued. Employees' privacy. Employees need to ensure that the information they gather and use for discipline is relevant. Privacy issue also concern the employees who wish to search or monitor employees. Employers must be prudent in deciding who will see the information. Organizations such as daycare facility and school must protect employees' right to privacy in their life and on the job while balancing the need to protect children from harm. Measure for protecting employees' privacy. Ensure the information is relevant. Publicize the information gathering policy and consequences. Request consent before gathering information. Treat employees consistently. Conduct researches discreetly. Share information only with those who need it. Test your knowledge. Palm Jones worked for 41 years at the same company and had positive performance rating and personal record. She needed a calculator for work which she purchased with her own money but was not reimbursed because she lost the receipt. Later, a security guard stopped her as she was leaving work and discovered the calculator and belongings. After a brief internal investigation, she was fired and it was announced through internal knowledge that she had committed theft. The employee sued for libel, saying the company used her as an example to prevent other thefts. What are the key issues in this case? As an HR director, how would you have handled this case? Legal requirements continued. Notification of layoffs. Organizations that plan broad-scale layoffs may be subject to Workers' Adjustment, Retraining and Notification Act 1. Employees covered by the law are required to give notice before any closing or layoff. Test your knowledge. After hiring Bob for newly created marketing specialist position, his boss assures him that he will be secure in the job until he retires. A year later, that department is eliminated. Bob complains he was granted employment until retirement. Is he right? No, an employee can hire or fire someone whether they want. No, there was no written contract. Yes, he was given a verbal contract. Progressive discipline. Hot stove rule. Principle of discipline that says discipline should be like a hot stove, given clearing, warning and following up with consistent objective and immediate consequences. Progressive discipline. A formal discipline process in which the consequences become more serious if the employee repeats the offense. A progressive discipline responsive figure 10.2. Unofficial spoken warning, official written warning, second written warning plus threat of temporary suspension plus written notice that this is the last chance to improve termination. Progressive discipline continues. The rule of the behavior should cover disciplinary problems such as following behaviors encountered in many organizations: tardiness, absenteeism, unsafe work practice, poor quantity or quality of work, sexual harassment or co-workers coming to work impaired by alcohol, drugs, theft of the company property, cyber slacking. Figure 10.3. Typical stages of alternative dispute resolution. Alternative dispute resolution ADR methods of solving the problem by bringing in an impartial outsider but not using the court system. Open door policy, peer review, mediation, arbitration. Alternative dispute resolution, open door policy, and organization policy of making managers available to hear complaints. Peer review process for resolving dispute by taking them to a panel composed of representatives from the organization at the same level as the people in the dispute. Alternative dispute resolution continues. Mediation, non-binding process in which a neutral party from the outside the organization hears the case and tries to help the people in the conflict arrive at the settlement. Arbitration, binding process in which a professional arbitrator from outside the organization, usually a law judge, hears the case and resolves it by making a decision. Employee assistance programs. Employee assistance programs (EAP) are referral service that employees can use to seek professional treatment for emotional problems or substance abuse. Many EAPs are fully integrated into employees' overall health benefits and plans. Outplacement counseling, a service in which professionals try to help dismissed employees manage the transition from one job to another. The goals for outplacement counseling are to help the former employee address the psychological issues associated with losing his job while at the same time helping the person find a new job. Job withdrawal is a set of behaviors with which employees try to avoid the work situation physically, mentally, or emotionally. Job withdrawal results when circumstances such as the nature of job, supervisor and co-worker pay levels, or other employees on a disposition causes the employee to become dissatisfied with the job. Job withdrawal process figure 10.4. Personal disposition, tasks and roles, supervisor and co-worker pay and benefit, jobs dissatisfaction. Job withdrawal, behavior change, physical job withdrawal, psychological job withdrawal. The causes of job dissatisfaction. Personal disposition, negative affective cause, self-evaluation, tasks and roles. Roles, the role ambiguity, role conflict, role over supervisor and co-worker. Negative behavior by manager, conflicts between employers. Pay and benefit. Pay is an indicator of status in the organization. Pay and benefits contribute to self-worth. Military reservists who are sent overseas often experience role conflicts among three roles: social, family member, civilian employee. Overseas assignment often infancy role conflicts. Action employees take when dissatisfied. Behavior change the condition, whistleblowing, bring a lawsuit, lodge complaint, physical job withdrawal, psychological withdrawal, decrease in job enjoyment, decrease in organization commitment. Unpleasant employees are bad for business. Lost time worrying about duty, incident, experience declining commitment in organization, experience declining performance, lost the time avoiding rude person, decreased work effort, decreased time at work, decreased work quality, percentage of employees. Job satisfaction, a pleasant feeling resulting from the perception that one's job fulfills or allows for the fulfillment of one's important job values. The three important components of values: perception, ideas of what is important. People will be satisfied with their job as long as we perceive that their jobs meet their important values. Increasing job satisfaction, monitoring job satisfaction, hiring employees predisposed to being satisfied, referring depressed employees for help, designing complex, meaningful jobs, establishing clear, appropriate roles, reinforcing shared values, encouraging social support, helping employees pursue goals, setting satisfactory pay levels, communicating pay structure and policies. Appropriate tasks and roles include safety precautions, especially when work could involve risk to workers' health and safety. Figure 10.6 steps in the role analysis technique. Role analysis technique, a process of formally identifying action associated with the role. Member of the role set right expectation for role. Members of role set discuss expectation. Preliminary list of roles, duty and behavior. Role occupant list expectation for others in the role set. Members of the role set discuss expectation and reach consensus on occupant's role. Modify list of roles, duties and behaviors. Job satisfaction, supervisor and co-worker. The two primary people in an organization who affect job satisfaction are co-workers and supervisor. A person may be satisfied with these people for the one of 3%. The people share the same value, attitudes and philosophies. The co-workers and supervisor may provide social support, meaning they are sympathetic and caring. The co-workers or supervisor may help the person attain some valued outcome. Co-worker relationship can contribute to job satisfaction. Organization therefore try to provide opportunity to build positive relationship. Test your knowledge. Serena feels that job processing, payroll checks, and boring and administrating which interaction would be most appropriate in Serena. Communicating the company value to increase her pay, expanding her job, hiring someone she can chat with during the day. Monitoring job satisfaction. Employers can better retain employees if they are aware of satisfaction levels so they can make changes if employees are dissatisfied. The usual way to measure job satisfaction is with some kind of survey. A systematic ongoing program of employee survey should be part of the organization's human resource strategy. This allows the organization to monitor trends and prevent voluntary turnover. Example of job descriptive index JDI. Figure 10.7. Instruction: think of your present work. What is it like most of the time? In the blank beside each word given below, write why for yes if describe your work and for no if it does not describe your work. If you cannot decide, work itself, routine, satisfying, good, pay less than I deserve, highly paid, insecure, promotion opportunity, dead end job, unfair policies based on ability, supervision, impolite praises, good but does not supervise enough, co-worker, intelligent, responsible, boring. Example of a simplified non-verbal measure of job satisfaction. Figure 10.8. Job satisfaction from the phases scale. Consider also your circle the phase that beside describe your feeling about your job in general. Exit interview. Exit interview, a meeting of the parting employee with the employee supervisor and a human resource specialist to discuss the employee's reason for leaving. A well-conducted exit review can cover reasons why employees have when several employees leave. When several exiting employees give similar reasons for leaving, management should consider whether there indicates a need for change. In summary, involuntary turnover occurs when the organization requires employees to leave often when they would prefer to stay. Voluntary turnover occurs when employees initiate a turnover often when the organization would prefer to keep them. Both are costly because of the need to recruit, hire and train a replacement. Involuntary turnover can also result in lawsuit and even violence. Summary continued. Employers draw conclusions based on the outcomes of decision regarding them, the procedures applied, and the way managers rate employees when carrying out those procedures. Employee discipline should not result in wrongful discharge, such as termination, debt violation, implied contract, or public policy. Discipline should be administered even handily without discrimination. Summary continued. Discipline should follow the principle of the hot stove rule, meaning discipline should give a warning and have consequences that are consistent, objective, and immediate. A system that can meet this requirement is progressive discipline, in which rules that are established and communicated and increasingly severe consequences follow each violation of the rules. Organization may also resolve problems through alternative dispute resolution. Summary continues. Circumstances involving the nature of job, supervisor, co-worker, pay level, or the employee on this position may produce job satisfaction. When employees become dissatisfied, they may engage in job withdrawal. To prevent job withdrawal, organizations need to promote job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is related to the personal value. Different employees have different views of which values are important. Job satisfaction is based on perception.